This time we'll call to order the Norristown Council meeting for November 10th. Everybody stand for our invocation and our pledge. Councilman Krieger's going to have our invocation.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, we just thank and praise that we can gather, Lord, as Christian brothers and sisters, Lord, to seek your will and, Lord, to lead our town, Lord, to your honor and your glory. We thank you for the opportunity to lead. We thank you for the opportunity to fellowship and really, Lord, we thank you for giving us such a nice town to live in and giving us an opportunity to be good stewards of it. Lord, guide our work, guide our words, and Lord, let all we say, think, and do bring honor and glory to your name. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First on the agenda is approval of the October 13th minutes. Are there any corrections or discussion concerning those? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. Mr. Hale?
I second. Did you get a second?
Okay. Oh, I thought we did, or,
I made the motion, he seconded it.
okay. Ms. Bowles?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Abstain.
Mr. Mills?
Yes.
All right, motion carries, minutes are approved. Next is consent agenda. First is the library report.
I visited the library a couple of weeks ago. It looks nice. Thank you for your hard work.
Cindy, I was pleased to see the increase in funding. I'm sure you were too.
Yeah, I believe when I started out, there was about 14,000 a year, now we're up to 21,755, so, I mean, it's pretty good. So, that's awesome.
That's good money right there.
All right, we'll move on to the Parks and Rec report.
The new scoreboard's exciting.
It's really nice. It's like we got a champion. That's a big deal.
Yeah, that group has, it's fourth and fifth grade division is the one that won it. And out of the 9, there was 6 of them that were actually fourth graders that really played volleyball before. We don't offer it at the third grade level. So Tiffany did a great job with them.
All right, we'll move on to well, it's not a farmer's market report. We'll move on to the police report.
They keep feeding the bulldogs, all I can say.
You got a new officer, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we do, maybe, I was gonna try to have her here tonight, but she actually had, some tickets for a concert, so she's gonna come next month, and I'll introduce you in case you haven't met her, but, she's come in, we worked for about a month with an officer, and she's doing really good, so she's now, she's been by herself for a couple shifts. She's doing really good.
Good.
Noah finished his academy, so we're doing his FTO program now, and hopefully by, the first of next month, we'll have him out on his own, and we'll be up to full staff.
That'll be full staff. Good. Nice.
Awesome.
Benji, how's this street light stuff coming? Is AEP helping out any or?
I know John has talked to him again, and John and I have spoke.
You want to give them a little bit of an update on it, John, or?
Did you see in my report, the email I got from
Yes.
Christopher Howe?
Yes, I saw.
The reason I put that in there was so council would believe that they told me that we're gonna get all new lots. Now they're saying that they're not doing the entire lots, they're not doing them no more. But as they replace lights, they're gonna replace them with LEDs. He's put it into, their mapping and everything, so it's supposed to be replacements instead of just putting in new bulbs. I've talked to Benji about it, he's turning it in every month, so, if they don't start fixing
We're
some
gonna kind of give
lines,
them a couple more days, maybe another week, and if they haven't fixed what they gave us work orders on, we're gonna go back to them and say, look, this has been going on way too long, these are, lights that we've turned in 4 or 5 months at a time, you still haven't fixed, you're giving us work orders on them, why are you not fixing?
Well, that's great, and I would suggest to you, Benji, that if that doesn't work, I've got another idea. So, thanks for, and I understand things change, but I hope this Christopher fellow has a sense of obligation to try to help, since he
he
went
will,
coming.
and he's a good contact to have, so I will definitely reach back out to him and say, what's going on? He went to his supervisor over these lights not getting done because he had been told all along, we're doing them, we're just waiting on another supervisor to get the poll numbers and everything, get a true count of them. That's what he had been told. Then he went back to his supervisor and asked, and that's when he found out they're not doing conversions. So
I'm like John Hale, I got an idea.
Yeah, I got a couple ideas.
I talked to him a couple of times and he's been nothing but apologetic, but he will help us if we can't get these done.
Well, obviously, we don't want to pick a fight with that code,
Exactly.
but we ain't gonna keep being ignored either. So they are gonna force us to do stuff we don't want to do.
Okay.
And they don't either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Sounds good.
All right, we'll move on to the financial report. No questions, we'll move on to the town manager's
Other
report.
being broke in pretty good shape.
Terry, I think, well, I just wanted to thank you very much again for, I'm looking for the spot here in the report where you spoke about the action that was taken with the property over here. The blighted properties in our town are certainly something that's very important to me. And I thank you for the action you mentioned here that you've taken to create a better result, which I think is an aesthetic improvement and a public safety improvement. And so thank you for getting something done with that. Really appreciate it. And I would ask, do you feel relative to the rest of our town that we're current in terms of those kinds of actions? And if not, is there help we can lend you?
No, we're not current. We are still continuing to work on several other properties to have similar actions. So
stay tuned.
Stay tuned. We're continuing to work on several that we know need to come down.
Thanks very much. Thank you. Can you explain to me, just so I understand about the perhaps possible decision about self-insurance relative to flood insurance on the building and contents? Can you just describe it?
We're going to talk about that as one of the agenda items tonight, to talk about FEMA reimbursements and what they're asking us to to do. So I
So
would,
you'd like me to wait till then?
yeah, I'll talk about that when we do that. Just,
Okay.
All right, we'll move on to the Public Works report.
If we don't get anything else done, I promised a dear friend of mine that in a public meeting, I would praise John Davis and company. They, went up there and did some brush, busted it up, and, they said, she made me drive by there. Could you ever tell there was a tree there? No, you're right. But, and was very effusive in her praise of our professionalism and the way we talk to people. And I just wanted to pass that on for the record.
Thank you very much.
we got an email about that as well and shared it with the staff.
Okay. Well, this person don't email, so there must be two of them praising me.
How's the mini excavator doing?
Great.
It looks good.
Getting the work out.
Yeah.
Getting the
Yeah, it
work.
would be difficult to do that job with a big piece of equipment
Yes, sir.
and make a much bigger mess.
It would, and all things around houses and stuff, just the maneuverability is huge.
All right, if there's no other questions, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second? All right, we'll call for the vote. Mr. Hale?
Yes.
Ms. Bowles?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Mills?
Yes.
Motion carries. At this time, we're going to change things around a little bit and allow, Austin Sachs with Davenport to do his thing.
So Austin, do you want to lead into this, or do you want me to introduce what we're talking about here?
Yeah, I'm happy to take the lead, just to make sure you all can hear me.
Yep.
Can-
Most noise you can make.
Yeah, that might help.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Well, I'm Austin Sachs with Davenport, Town's financial advisor, and so I appreciate the flexibility in accommodating me virtually. Love to make the trip out there for people to come here, but what we're here to discuss tonight is what's called a revenue anticipation note. So what that is a short-term borrowing. It's for operating expenditures, cash flow purposes. So it's really to keep bills paid, make sure payroll is paid. It's giving you that contingency, that cash flow to make it through the fiscal year, or at least until a majority of your revenues come in via real estate taxes. And so, in talking with town manager, cash flows were getting to a low point where a need for this revenue anticipation note is necessary. And Terry had reached out and we had surveyed the marketplace, talked to several banks, and got a feel for their interest in participating in the revenue anticipation note. So what we have for you today is a proposal from First Bank and Trust. So they've given a proposal for a fixed rate revenue anticipation note. It's a general obligation of the town. And given the type of financing, it will mature no later than June 30th, 2026. So this really is only, the term is the balance of the fiscal year. So it's fixed rate, interest rate is 5.29%. And so documentation has been prepared by bond counsel, Sam Anderson, that will provide authorization, if so moved by y'all, to move forward with this financing. Importantly, the dollars are loaned to the town that can be reinvested. So we typically see those dollars invested in the local government investment pools that's earning a little over 4%. So that'll offset some of the borrowing costs there, but just making sure that the town has the proper contingencies in terms of cash works are paid, as we wait for some revenues to come in. So this will be the only action required by the town council. And following approval by this body, we'll be able to move toward closing, which would probably aim for the end of this week. We might slip into the first half of the week. Just have to get, documents signed, cross, eyes dotted, make sure the bank moves forward with all of its internal credit approvals to work with us. So happy to answer any questions related to financing. There's a lot of information. Didn't have a presentation per se, but hopefully all will take a look at the memo shared beforehand, but happy to address any questions.
You do have the memo in front of you that Sands Anderson prepared for us. This is what we're asking you to approve as a resolution tonight for us to pursue borrowing this money, to borrow money. Revenue anticipation note, our personal property and real estate taxes, we anticipate receiving about $750,000 this year. This revenue anticipation would be $500,000. Basically what it's doing is moving that money accessible to us now so that we can use it and we pay it back when the taxes are paid. And that addresses the cash flow problem that we're having right now.
So your intention will be to use it as needed?
Yes, right. And that's what he's saying is basically what we do is of that 500,000, we use what we need to this month, put the rest of it in LGIP. We will pull it out of LGIP, which we can do in a day's time as we need it for the rest of the months until March.
This seems like a reasonable approach. I've been talking to you for months about rainy day fund or something. And it needs to be clearly understood by our constituents that I'd be ashamed of this if we wasted money, but we haven't. We got screwed, we got in a situation that was beyond our control, and we had to spend the money when we spent it.
Yeah.
So,
and let me add to that to say that at last month's meeting, you guys had approved for me to potentially borrow another $100,000 on the line of credit that we had prepared, which was also with First Bank and Trust. And we did not need to do that this month. So we have kept our expenses and gotten our revenues up to where we need to be able to get through this month. But we're at a point now where we really need to do something. So we have not borrowed any more other than that initial $200,000 that we did for the FEMA stuff. And we're going to talk about that some more tonight as well. So, and in talking with Davenport, we did look at going just to that line of credit to use it. The reason that they were recommending we not do that is because that really does need to be tied to the FEMA damages that we suffered because of the flood. And so they didn't want to stretch to do that. They would rather that we did this as this revenue anticipation note. It's an easier note to get. And so we felt like this was the better solution for what we're trying to do.
well, I think so also.
So this $500,000 is basically, it's just gonna be sitting there when you need it, you borrow it, and we're not gonna be on the hook for immediately for $500,000. It's just gonna be what we borrow, what we use throughout, I guess.
No, we are going to borrow it all initially, and then we will put some of it into LGIP funds to earn interest until we need it. So we will be on the hook for that $500,000 as revenue anticipation for when we get it as tax revenue in March.
We're expecting $750,000. And then we shift, aren't we a little bit behind collective funds because we shifted dates or something?
We are, because we moved the date to March, and that's part of the problem here, is that typically we would start having tax revenue coming in this month, and we will. We're going to send our bills out now. They're actually being prepared this week, but that's not going to be enough to get us through the cash flow issue that we're having.
And the lack of funds was anticipated when we approved moving everything to March.
Right.
Well, it don't matter which way we go, through no fault of our own, we're in a bind, and we gotta come up with some money. So our charge is to get the best deal we can on borrowing some money. And I'll stand up to anybody that thinks we mismanaged, because we haven't. It's just, who could predict a 100-year flood? And that's what put us in a bind, am I correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Thank you.
And another thing to point out in speaking about the revenue and when taxes are due, one of the things that Davenport has talked with me about, and we may ultimately continue to pursue this in the future, is us possibly either moving that date again or making it so that we receive money twice a year. So we bill twice a year like the county does. So we may look at that in the future as well. We'll see how this goes. This is the immediate solution. We can look at that in the future, but I wanted you to be aware that we can continue to talk about that. So
You need a motion on this thing.
we do need for you, and Reed, you can kind of help us here, but we need for you to make a motion to approve the resolution that's in front of you, prepared by Sands Anderson for us.
Right underneath the cover memo, there's a resolution. It's titled, "A Resolution Authorizing the Issuance of Up to $500,000 Principal Amount of a Revenue Anticipation Note of the Town of Narrows, Virginia, and providing for the form, details, and payment thereof." I think that's what, we need a motion to approve that.
That's my motion.
Motion in a second.
All right, if there's no further discussion, we'll call for the vote. Mr. Hale?
Yes.
Ms. Bowles?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Mills?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
That's sufficient, Austin?
Austin, is that all you need?
Yes, that's all we need.
Okay. We are going to talk about the FEMA reimbursements here in a few minutes as well. You're welcome to stay on and listen to that, but you certainly don't have to, so.
I appreciate it. I'll stay and listen in. I just might have the camera off, but thank you all.
Okay, thanks again.
Thank you.
All righty. Communications, concerns, and requests from the public, there appears to be none. Communication from mayor, council, and staff. Do you want to turn those around a little bit?
Yeah, if you want,
All right,
let's do the FEMA
Yeah,
reimbursement.
let's do that first.
Okay. So I wanted to make you all aware of how this is proceeding. We're over a year beyond the actual flood event now. And to date, we have received only one of the 6 reimbursements that we anticipated getting for the flooding from Helene. The project that was approved first was the Lurch Road ball fields, where we lost the fencing and the infield mix there. The total damages there were $44,740. That project has been closed out, and on that project, we received from FEMA 75% of the money, which was $33,555. From the state, we received $8,500. And the town then was responsible for $2,684 of that. It breaks down to 75%, 19% from the state, and 6% the town is ultimately responsible for. And I tell you that because that's going to be important to one of the things that we're facing here in the future. So that project itself has already been closed out. It's gone all the way through the system. We received the money back. So that was done, essentially. 4 more of our 6 projects with FEMA are obligated, which means they are approved for reimbursement. And one of those was actually obligated today. So in my report, it says 3 of them are obligated. We're up to 4 now. Those 4 projects are reimbursement of the loan and line of credit that we took, the expenses for that. So they are reimbursing us for the expense of Davenport issuing the loan, the interest for the first year on the loan itself. And so that totals $32,420. That's been obligated. It'll go through the 75, 19, and 6% repayment to us. I expect that one to go pretty smoothly. The third one is the reimbursement of management time. That was mine and Debbie's time in meetings that we sat in with FEMA. We are eligible for $5,015 for that. That's 100% reimbursement from FEMA, so we will get that total amount paid back. Then the next one is a concession stand and sports equipment. So this is the building that sits between the two ball fields on the Lurch Road Park there. You'll recall, I hope, that that building was built to withstand a 100-year flood, and it did, except for the windows. The windows are double pane windows, and they got water in them, and so that in between the panes there was water in them. So we had to replace the windows in that building. Everything else that we lost in that building was contents, basically. So the cabinetry in the kitchen area where they serve concessions, and then the storage area in the back where we had all of our sports equipment stored there. The total for that was over $30,000, but we were notified when they obligated the money for that they were going to reduce that amount by half because we did not carry flood insurance on that building. So this was all new to me. I just learned this last week. So because we don't have flood insurance on that, we're going to take a 50% reduction in our loss in that building. So we're going to have to eat about $15,000 there. They are also going to require us to obtain and maintain flood insurance on that building in the future, and they give us an amount for the building itself and the contents of the building. Fortunately for us, the amount was only about, I think it was like $7,800 for the building and about $20,000 for the contents. And that's based on the claim that we made this time.
So what's going to be our yearly outlay for
We
that?
don't know that yet. I have not been able to get a quote from NFIP yet, the National Flood Insurance Program, for that building. So I will have to get that, and we'll, obviously, you have to approve that expense. We'll build that into next year's budget, but it will be an added expense for us.
I'll say this before I see anything. If they put on the table what I think is an exorbitant amount, then I'll roll the dice.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I just don't think we're going to
I
have
agree with
it.
you. If all we're gonna get back is $15,000, we need to talk about that.
Yeah.
Seriously talk about it.
So the flood insurance would be, you would be reimbursed for whatever amount you insured the building for. So, we could insure it for higher amounts, but that's going to be costly per year to do.
Well, it's been proven that the building design
Worked,
was accurate.
right?
Yes, sir.
So we ain't gonna lose the building.
And I'll add to that, as far as considering the insurance, is that we, Public Works, Parks and Rec, and I have learned that in the future, if they tell us we're gonna flood at this level, we're gonna add 4 feet to it, and we're gonna go move stuff out of that building. We didn't move stuff out of that building because we didn't anticipate it was gonna
Right.
flood.
Is there a possibility we can self-insure that?
That's what we'd be doing.
That's what we would.
Well, but
Yes.
but it's not doing anything.
Right, if we don't do anything, if we don't get national flood insurance on it or some kind of private insurance on it, then FEMA would no longer cover that site for us in the future. So if we suffer another flood.
As slow as they are, and I think that's rotten to take half our money, and we just now are aware of it.
Yeah.
So I'm not a big fan of them, never have been. I've worked with them for 40 years, and we will diligently listen to what you bring to us. But I'm telling you right now, if it's like most of their flood insurance, I say forget it. But we'll see.
So That deals with the concession stand and sports equipment. The next outstanding project we have, which has been obligated, is the repairs and stabilization of the road in Camp Success that goes from the entryway down to the boat ramp. And there we have gotten quotes for doing that work ourselves with forced labor and just buying the materials. And FEMA has obligated money for that. There's no building involved there, so we won't get that reduction on this one. So, and they have actually obligated funds with more than the amount that we anticipate the costs are going to be. So I anticipate that one will be like the reimbursement for the Lurch Road ball fields was. It should go pretty smoothly once we actually do the work. We held off on doing it because we didn't want to do it during the open season while the camp was open. So we will take care of that. And there was the money issue as well. So we will take care of that now and get that completed and then be able to be reimbursed for that one. And then the other two projects that are remaining are, only one more project is the wastewater treatment plant. Now, based on what I have learned from the concession stand at Lurch Road, we have buildings at the wastewater treatment plant that are not insured. And so here's my concern, is we are anticipating another $300,000 worth of costs for that building, for the repairs that Thompson and Litton has been saying to us we need to do. This is the electrical repairs for all the conduit and everything that was underwater during the flood event. So here's what I've done. My concern is if we go and spend that $300,000 and put it through the system and FEMA comes back and says, okay, we'll approve $150,000 of that, then we're on the hook for $150,000 of repairs that we will have already obligated, already committed to pay for. So that worries me, that we would put ourselves in a position that suddenly we are needing to pay for something out of pocket that we had not anticipated doing. $150,000 is a lot of money. Even if that whole $300,000 were to be reimbursed by FEMA, we would still be responsible for 6% of that. So that's close to $20,000 that we would have of our own that we would need to pay. So what I've done is arranged a meeting this week with Thompson and Litton, the mayor, and John Mills, and Cody Cass from the wastewater plant, and John Davis and myself, for us to sit down and talk through what our risk would be if we were to say we're not going to fix the electrical stuff that was underground. If something breaks, we will self-insure, basically, we'll fix it ourselves. $20,000 can go a long way for us, ourselves, fixing things that crop up. Especially if we're looking at doing away with that wastewater treatment plant ultimately and combining with Pearisburg. Then, I feel like we would be taking a risk on that $150,000 that maybe we don't need to be doing.
What we'll be doing is sending good money after bad.
Right.
And I don't, unless T&L presents us with something that's just wild scope, we're not going to spend that money on my vote. I think your logic is solid, and, I'm tired of this stuff. What's these agencies for?
And I want you to understand that Thompson and Litton is not going to come back and say, oh, y'all don't need to do that, period.
No.
They got to protect themselves as well. But they have been very honest and frank with me that is a lot of money to spend on stuff that we really just don't know until we get into it. And the other concern on the other side that they expressed to me is, what if we get into this and start realizing not only is the wiring bad, but the conduit is bad. And so you're going to need to tear the conduit out, you're going to have to replace that. Then we get into digging, then we're talking about way more money than $300,000. And so, there's some cons on the other side as well that we need to be thinking about. So what I'm telling you all this for is to tell you that this meeting is happening and that we will come back to you guys with these guys and our staff's recommendation about what we think we ought to do.
And that's a prudent thing to do, what you've arranged, is I can sit here right now and tell you that ain't nothing gonna change from that meeting. But it's imperative we have that meeting in order to have acted administratively appropriately. So you've done the right thing.
Yeah, I just want you all to be, fully aware of what the dilemma is that we're facing in trying to decide how we move forward with this.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Terry, the 300,000 that has been presented to FEMA, if they reimburse that total amount, we're not obligated to spend it on what it was reimbursed for. Is that correct? Other than maybe the wastewater treatment plant, but not the upgrades, the electrical that we're talking about.
Well, they would only reimburse us. So
After we spend
after
it.
we have spent it.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the big part of the dilemma is we have to spend that money for them to actually then approve reimbursing it for us. They've actually, there again, their estimate of the damages to the building were higher than ours were. They were higher than Thompson and Litton's were. And so, they have looked at the potential for there being more damage there. But we now, a year after this, and, Cody is telling me we're not having any electrical problems. We're not seeing anything, not seeing any voltage drops or anything. So, our indications are that everything's okay the way it is right now. So, we just want to, like I said, walk through with everybody to be on the same page as to what the potential is here and therefore what our potential costs might be in self-insuring with this. So,
And that's a good move, Terry, but God forbid that anybody use common sense and apply all this money to fixing the problem over there. The real problem, you throwing around big numbers there, and I know it's gonna take big numbers to alleviate this concern, but, we'll see what they say.
So I don't need any action from tonight. I just wanted to make you aware of that. Now that we've completely trashed FEMA here, I do want to tell you that we have continued to have meetings with them about the hazard mitigation grant. And they are still working very actively with us on that. And actually VDEM, the Virginia version of FEMA, is really being proactive in helping us towards that. And they're being very encouraging to us that they're optimistic that we can get some pretty significant funding for the combined wastewater treatment plant.
I promise you this, I see the cash hit the bank, I'll eat a plate of crow right here in front of you. But until then, my statements stand.
Yeah.
Terry, maybe this is a question for Thursday, but I'll forget to ask it. Is there anything in the wastewater treatment plant that would be to our advantage to replace, to get reimbursement for, that we could use going forward, equipment wise?
No, not really. The generator, which is a different grant, that's not FEMA money, that's DHCD money. That generator is going to be used,
Right.
whether that's a pumping station or whether it stays as a wastewater plant. So in that sense, yes, we were thinking that very thing. But FEMA will not let you upgrade your plant using money because of flood damages. So it literally has to be replacing like for like. You have to be repairing something and putting it back like it was pre-flood in order for them to reimburse under the public assistance side.
Good try, Tom.
You said that one thing that concerned you was that, like, if we do these repairs and then apply, and then ask for reimbursement, that they could, since some of those buildings are not in the flood zone, that they could go, like they did with we're not reimbursing that at all.
Right.
And then, and you mentioned the combination, combined wastewater treatment plant. What is the status of that? Who's moving forward, or what's the story?
Yeah, that's what I was just saying, is that we're continuing to work with VDM and FEMA on the hazard mitigation are being very encouraging for that. So we have a core group of people from Narrows, people from the county, people from Harrisburg. The New River Valley Regional Commission is helping us with the funding package. So we're continuing to work on that. And VDEM and FEMA are both involved in those group meetings as well. So it is proceeding, and like I said, they still are encouraging us in the application that we are eligible for money. So there's a large chunk of money that's based on the amount of money that came to this area and came to Virginia in general for flood damages from Helene that have to be spent on hazard mitigation. And so we're a prime example of what that money is supposed to be used for.
Well, we need to tell FEMA if we elect not to spend that 300,000 and save them 300,000, they need to give us our 15 back on the ball.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, good luck with that. Okay, so that's all I had on the FEMA reimbursements, unless anybody has any other questions. Austin, thanks for hanging with us on that. I just wanted you to hear all of that as well, so that you knew where we stood on that aspect of it. And Austin and Davenport have been involved through that whole process with us as well. So just wanted you to hear where we stand as well.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Austin.
Take care, Austin.
Artie, PSA report?
We'll have one after Thursday, so nothing at this time.
All right, John Hill's got a report on Wolf Creek Runs Wild.
There'll be some additional information forthcoming from Alicia Lane, I believe, subsequent to my remarks tonight, but I'm very pleased to be here. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, John, very much for your support of the Wolf Creek Runs Wild event, which occurred in October. I want to thank my team members, Alicia Lane, Terry Nicholson, and Cora Nagy, for their support of this event, something that I think we all can and should be very proud of. And I think that I anticipate we will have some very favorable news to report in terms of contribution to Mill Creek. And again, that information will be forthcoming. Benji, John Davis, and other members of the town staff, we thank you all very much for your contributions to this event, which were certainly invaluable. And certainly we thank our sponsors, large and small, for helping support this event. I think this is something that we all can and should be very proud about, showcase our community in a nice way, and effectively fulfill our mission of encouraging healthy living, healthy lifestyles, and showcasing the County of Giles as Virginia's mountain playground. So again, I thank you very much for your initial, for coming on board initially to help get this thing launched. Certainly it made my job easier in terms of raising funds for this event with other supporting members in the community. Again, I say to all of you, Benji, John, the rest of the town staff, Terry, Debbie, all of you, Roger, thank you so much for your help. And again, to council, thanks for having confidence in us. And I'm certainly very proud of what's the results of our efforts, and I hope you are too.
When you have 266 people pay money to run, that's phenomenal to me. And it was nicely executed. The only downside is I had to listen to Spangler for about an hour in his bull crap. But other than that, it was perfect. And I just thank you. It took a Herculean effort. people that have never been involved in these type of events having a clue the pieces you gotta pull together. And you named a bunch of them out there. And every one of them was invaluable to this effort. And you was right out in the front there, Brother Hale. We appreciate it.
And Cindy, you were involved in running too, weren't you?
I think we kind of walked.
I walked. I walked.
Thank you too, Cindy, very much.
My legs were like jello afterward, but I walked.
Offered her a ride, she wouldn't take.
It was an excellent.
Great event.
I'll tell you,
I'm certain we're in
it
line.
amazed me on the 10K, the 5K both, on how quick people ran it. I mean, I've just never been involved in anything like that other than, you hear about the Boston Marathon, that type of stuff, but, seemed like it hadn't any more than started, and here comes somebody that had already run the whole thing.
It's amazing to me. And there's people from everywhere.
Yeah.
It's good, and we need to, I'm sure y'all are in the works for round 2 next year.
Well, I think we are.
We are.
I don't know what I'm doing about. I've done the course 5 times.
Yeah, I bet you did.
And a truck.
All righty, sounds good. Unfinished business or appears to be done?
I have a couple quick comments.
Sure.
If I may. Benji and John, thank you again for your work on the streetlight issue. Do you know, if necessary, would you have copies of or documentation of your correspondence, your communication with AEP to try to?
I do. I have emails every time we send a report in. They will send us a work order back. So I have all those emails.
Great. We may need that. So thank you for that.
I don't have anything but just that email I sent. Most of mine have been done about with Chris Allen.
Okay.
Let me ask this question. In the past, traditionally, when you've sent in a work order or when you've received a work order, traditionally, how long has it taken them to meet that obligation?
It's always been slow.
It's always been slow, but it has never been like it is now.
Well, that's what I say. It seems to
There's
be-
been lights that I have turned in 5 months in a row.
It seems to be so much slower
Still
right
yet
now.
to get fixed.
Have they given you any reason for that?
No, they have not. Even after going work orders, sending us the work orders back saying they will repair the lights, we're still not getting it done.
I think a lot of it was due to the fact.
Yeah, and a lot of it was that they thought that they were going to replace all the lights with the LEDs. So I think
And with the local supervisors and Christopher Howe, they all thought we were going to, so they hadn't been replacing the old bulbs with new bulbs.
Which makes sense.
Yes, but I'll make a phone call Wednesday for sure. And Benji and I will talk again, and I'll give somebody a phone call if they'd like and let them know what.
Please.
Okay.
And for reference for what you're asking, Benji really is the official channel for how things are sent to the AEP to report.
Yeah, I just had a sense that John was involved as well. And I think as much information as we have will help.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
And a question, Tom, just one, and council, just one more question right now. Is it your anticipation, as best you can tell, Terry, that by March, we ought to be in a position to have paid off our line of credit?
Yes. Yeah.
I'll need to put you in a box. Okay, so even if you say, I don't know that, go ahead and say that. But your sense is that.
Yeah, the revenue anticipation note, we have to pay off before the end of this fiscal year. The line of credit, we've got longer to do that if we need it. But our anticipation is that once we get all the FEMA reimbursement we're gonna get, we will use that to pay that back.
So,
Yes.
thank you, Terry. Council, thank you. Tom, thank you. I'm done with my questions.
All righty, we'll move on to items for council information. Board of Supervisors, Mitt,
Sorry,
go ahead.
I think I missed my spot. I've talked to Terry a little bit about this, and, there is an art student, at Narrows she is extremely talented. Hannah Farmer, her mom is a teacher at the elementary school. And I asked her a few weeks ago if she, has ever painted on like some of the windows in town, or on windows, and she hasn't, but that would be second picture to her. So I talked to her about giving us a price on, like the bank windows, out here, and then Wheelerville. And she has sent me kind of like some inspiration, pictures, which are like amazing. And gave us a price, of like $20 to $30 per window. I think we could, we're also, we would buy the paint and she'll have her paintbrushes. There's money in the beautification that could pay her, for this. And I just think it would be really nice to showcase one of our local art students, and she's just.
This would be on the outside of the
This would
window.
be on the outside.
So for instance, the Wheeler building, which looks so bad from the looking in, would she black out the window and then paint
So
her
what
picture?
she's gonna do is, she said that she would like prime it first.
The whole window.
The part that she's gonna paint, she would prime that part and then go over it. She would do kind of just, I said to her, I said like a winter scene, not something that's so much, Christmas, but that would age well through January. Like I said, we would get the paint. She said that if she had the supplies, I asked her kind of the timeline. I told her, we would like for it to be by the beginning of December, so that with their things that we have going on here, that could be, showcased.
Sarah, do you think she could maybe do something for the PD window, like maybe do our patch and put Mayor's Police, because other than the little patch we have on the door,
Right.
a lot of people don't even,
Oh, I'm sure she could.
I'd love to be able to do something like that.
I'm sure she could.
Of course, cold weather is gonna be a problem as well. On the Wheeler building, I'd love to see them, if we could do it, just completely black out the window and then paint her scene. She could even black it out. She could even black it out from the inside, or maybe we could do that if
Yeah.
we did.
Amen.
So you can't see in it.
Right.
Sarah, you've never put us on a loser, and, I'm all for this. The only thing that I got a problem with is paying some hardworking kid $20.
Oh, I know, it needs to be, she needs to.
Really, this is-
It needs to be much more than that, she just, I just wanted her to look at the job and see if it was gonna be too much. Luckily for her, she has two sisters and a mom that are equally as talented as she is. So I feel like she will probably, have them help her as well.
Well, I trust our team to be fair with people like that and give them a hand up. Anybody's willing to work. And I would rather go on the high side and the low side when you're dealing with people like that.
Absolutely.
And we can do this as a budgeted line item, as Sarah said, we've got a budget line item for it.
Well, y'all do the best you can, Don. Need a motion on that?
Well, has she agreed to do it?
I think because it's a
I told her,
budgeted item.
I told her I was gonna talk to you all tonight, and, I told her we would figure out.
Well, I think we need-
exactly which buildings and,
I think we need to make it worth her while, because it sounds like It
Yes.
sounds like it just could possibly work into somebody that would be willing to do murals, like on
I mean, she,
a building or something.
she's extremely talented.
So I don't think we need a motion, I was just conferring with Reed.
Well, then have at it then.
Yeah, just, if you tell them to go ahead and proceed, and
Yeah.
you and I can figure out the payment for it.
Okay.
It will certainly be well within our line item for that budget.
We trust our team to do the right thing.
Let me ask you a question, since Sarah's talking. The mums on the bridge, did somebody vandalize
I
those?
don't know what,
I think somebody,
I don't know what
I think somebody
happened
beat
this
the
month.
devil out of it.
The wind vandalized that, unfortunately, that tore some of those out.
I don't know if a wind could have done all that damage,
I don't know, it was.
but anyway. They're about, I guess they're,
They were pretty while they were
While they're nice.
upright. They were beautiful while they were upright.
We actually lost some flags last week as well, that the first guys put the flags up, and the same day or the day after they put them up, 3 of them got blown down. And they went out and retrieved them and went and put them back, so I appreciate them doing that for
We
tomorrow.
found 2 out of 3 of them.
Yeah.
One more question. Out here, I talked to you about maybe doing lights, like right here on the alleyway.
Uh-huh.
Is there a light pole that can come off of
We'll have to look at that.
or not?
There's not a pole there. There's a pole out here, which is near the dumpster. It's too far away from that. But there is power to the Wheeler building there.
There's also power out to the light poles. For us to put those light poles on out in the parking lot back here that we could possibly use for, to put a couple outlets on.
We can look
We
at
wired
that.
them as we went to keep from digging up the concrete and asphalt and everything, so. We've got the conduit and everything in the ground and the wire just down in the conduit. But we could probably get some outlets out.
if there's nothing else, we'll move on to items for council information. You've got before you the Board of Supervisors minutes, and that's about it. Well, the fire department report, which was late. Is there any questions or comments concerning that?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, we've got a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we'll call for a vote. Mr. Hale?
Yes.
Ms. Bowles?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yeah.
Mr. Mills?
Yes, thank you.
Meeting adjourned. Thank y'all.